You talked about how the game has changed a bit over the years. As a coach, how you determine a guy who can score off schedule that can help you at the end of the shot clock and a guy who's just flat out too ball dominant, and when you see that, how do you correct that?
Open honest. Here's the film. Can you do that in 1-2 dribbles? Because I'm not going to allow you to have 9-10 dribbles. That's not going to happen. It's going to be what we call a substitution at the table after your fourth dribble. And again, that's just what the summer was able to do. Like we always say, okay, every great team has a shot clock guy. Who's a shot clock guy? Who can go get you a bucket? Who's a settle me down guy? We're learning what that is a little bit with us right now. What that is right now. So we're not there, but we have an idea who those 1 or 2 or 3 players could be for us. But I want, that's coaching. I'm not just going to allow somebody just to dominate the ball and the ball sticks because, you're easy to find.
And some coaches do, whether it's formal or informal, have a target number for threes that they'd like attempt in a game, whether it's because that's their system or how they run things. Do you have that on this team, maybe like a target, what's too much, what's not enough, or is it all flow-based?
It's a combination of both. I want a really good shot. And where does that come from? What's a good shot? But I would say, it is our goal to always try to make north of 7 to 10 threes a game. If you give up 7 to 10 threes a game, you can be in trouble, right? You can be in trouble. So, can we make 7 to 10 a game? If you do that, you're going to have a really high efficient offense. Because you're going to get a transition layup, an offensive rebound. But threes changed the game. Again, we was up 11 the other day, back-to-back threes, 5-point game, right? And it was on 2 really, really bad mistakes we made. So those are just daggers. So our entire philosophy is tough twos, no threes, tough twos, no threes, tough twos, no threes, tough twos, no threes. And we still gave up 9 the other day, but I think they shot 30, 34, 35 threes. So percentage-wise, it looks good, but I'm still, today's the first practice, by the way, since then, so I'm looking forward to seeing my guys. Really excited to see a couple of choice words.
Did you feel like you brought up the thing with the 2 G League players who got their eligibility? How much of that you think was almost opened up by being able to bring international players off of club professional teams? And then, you had schools that say, well, if you're doing that for overseas players, why are we not doing that for American players?
No, fair question. Fair question. I don't know if that opened up the can for it, but I'm pretty sure it was a conversation because it's real. That's, it's yes. To answer your question, yes. I'm pretty sure coaches that were in that space recruiting those players, somehow, some way talked about the international space with some of these players. Like they were pros at, in Poland or Brazil, France, wherever they may come from. If we have that same situation here, what's the difference? So that's, but again, at what point are you going to put an age limit on this? You're going to have 39-year-olds out there hooping, right? As freshmen, right? So, what are we talking about here?
And I know you spoke about this a little bit yesterday, but I want to circle back around with this. Is in some conferences the lack of African American head coaches, and there's still a certain sense of African American coaches being there for recruiting purposes, as opposed to wanting that end game of being head coaches. How do we change that sort of stereotype in that environment to understand that African American coaches are also trying to get to that first chair and not just be recruiters?
Again, I was on this all day yesterday because I feel it, and I feel if we didn't have some of the legends that paved the way for someone like myself to sit here and address this. I have one of the more dynamic young basketball coaches in America on our staff, and LaDante Henton. And before, somebody like LaDante, i.e., whether it was a Dave Leto back in the day or a Carl Harbs back in the day, we kind of came up by proving that only we can go out and identify talent, maybe not the best in the country, yet develop that talent. Before there was social media, now if a kid makes a layup, it's on 75,000 Instagrams or whatever it is. We didn't have that ability, so you really had to go out and evaluate. We don't always just want to, I don't want to hire a recruiter. Who isn't a great evaluator that can identify somebody that can play for us? Not who can go to Georgetown, who can play for Edward Anthony. That's who we had to be. And in doing so, I think because of the money right now, I think a lot of these assistants are not being valued at all. They're not being valued because you don't see their promise, their gift. So some of the younger coaches are not being viewed that way. Some of the minority coaches whom always have had a stereotype of they're just recruiters. So then when you stop looking at the hiring cycle, and again, all these schools that have coaches that are in their seat, they do a great job. I'm not saying they don't. I'm saying if this trend continues and it's not, you're not representing the people that you're even coaching. So who are these kids even looking up to when the real world comes and they're there for 1 year, 2 years, or 4 years? I don't know if I could identify with what you're going through and have a really open, honest discussion about how life really is. And when you look around the country at all these high major programs, to have 15 out of 79 or 80 schools, that's a problem. That's a legit, open, honest conversation that I don't think many of you aren't talking about enough. Because the next young man or woman to come through that is not a minority, they're gonna have the benefit of the doubt. Where the minorities are not getting the benefit, just to try. You know, you had a guy that went to the Final Four, don't know what happened. Final Four, ACC champion. 9 months later, deuces. That's rough. Wow. So I think between search firms, college universities and presidents, ADs, have a little bit more mindfulness of what's in your locker room, of the people you're going to serve, not just the people that are going to play.